The silence in Alara's apartment was deafening, a heavy blanket smothering every corner. It pressed in on her, a constant reminder of what was missing, of the vibrant life that had once pulsed within these walls. The air itself seemed to hold its breath, mirroring her own hesitant existence. 2 years had passed since Liam's laughter filled these rooms, since his booming voice echoed through the hallway, chasing away the shadows. Now only silence remained, a stark contrast to the joyful cacophony they had created together. The memory of his laughter was a bittersweet melody, a reminder of a happiness that felt both distant and achingly present. Alara traced her cold teacup, the ceramic smooth beneath her fingertips. The tea had long gone cold, mirroring the chill that had settled in her heart. She was lost in memories that tugged at her heart, each one a painful reminder of what she had lost. Each memory was a vivid snapshot, a moment frozen in time, now tinged with the ache of absence. Time dulled the pain, softening the sharp edges of grief, but the scar remained, a permanent mark etched onto her soul. It was a constant reminder of the depth of her love and the magnitude of her loss, a testament to a bond that death could not erase. The scar tightened with every recollection, a physical manifestation of the emotional weight she carried. Each memory, each thought of Liam, brought a fresh wave of grief, a tightening in her chest that stole her breath away. It was a pain that was both familiar and ever-present, a constant companion in her solitary existence. She lived in the shadows of her own life, a silhouette against the backdrop of her former happiness. The darkness was a comforting embrace, a place where she could hide from the world and its expectations. It was a self-imposed exile, a retreat from a world that no longer felt like home. She was haunted by vivid memories of Liam's smile, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he laughed, and their sketched-out dreams, plans for a future that would never be. These memories were both a comfort and a torment, a reminder of the joy they had shared and the future that had been stolen from them. The future they planned was now just faded napkins in a box, a collection of scribbled notes and half-formed ideas, a testament to a life that had been cut short. These remnants of their dreams were precious artifacts, tangible reminders of a love that had once burned so brightly. It was a box she couldn't open or discard, trapped between the desire to remember and the need to move on. The box represented her grief, a heavy burden she carried with her, unsure of how to release its weight. Moving on felt like betrayal, a disloyalty to the love they had shared, a desecration of his memory. How could she possibly find happiness again when he was no longer there to share it with her? The thought of moving on was a painful admission that their story was truly over. Every step forward was a step away from him, a further departure from the life they had built together. Each new experience, each new relationship, felt like a betrayal of the past, a rejection of the love that had defined her. The library was her refuge, a sanctuary where she could lose herself in the stories of others, where narratives had beginnings, middles, and most importantly, endings, unlike hers. The quiet atmosphere and the scent of old books provided a temporary escape from the harsh realities of her life. But when the doors closed, her grief returned, a relentless tide that washed over her as soon as she stepped back into the world. The escape was only temporary, and the weight of her loss always awaited her return. Leaving her story unfinished, a chapter left unwritten, a future unfulfilled. She felt like a character in a book whose author had abandoned the project, leaving her stranded in a perpetual state of incompleteness. Liam lingered in every song, a phantom melody that echoed through her heart, reminding her of shared moments and unspoken promises. Each note was a trigger, a portal back to a time when they were together, a time when music filled their lives with joy. Every scent, a familiar cologne that still clung to his clothes, a phantom fragrance that evoked memories of his embrace. The scent was a powerful reminder of his presence, a ghost of his touch that lingered in the air. Every shade of blue, the color of his eyes, the color of the sky on the day they met, a constant reminder of his presence in the world. Blue was now a color tinged with sadness, a hue that evoked both love and loss. Friends urged her to date, to embrace life again, to find someone new to share her journey with. They offered words of encouragement and support, hoping to coax her out of her self-imposed isolation. But her heart was still full of someone else, overflowing with memories of Liam, leaving no room for anyone new. Her heart was a vessel overflowing with love for Liam, a love that seemed to defy time and space. Love to her was a closed book, its pages filled with a story that had already reached its end, its binding sealed with grief. The book of her heart was closed, its pages filled with the story of her love for Liam, a story that felt complete, even in its tragic ending. One she was too afraid to reopen, fearing that any new story would pale in comparison, that any new love would be a betrayal of the one she had lost. The fear of opening her heart again was a powerful deterrent, a shield against further pain and disappointment. Alara's days blurred together, a monotonous cycle devoid of joy. Each sunrise felt like a faded photograph, a mere echo of the vibrant life she once knew. The weight of her grief pressed down on her, making every task feel monumental. Work, a necessary distraction but ultimately unfulfilling. Home, a silent sanctuary turned lonely prison. Sleep, a brief escape haunted by dreams of what was. Safe, predictable, and colorless. The routine was a shield, protecting her from the sharp edges of reality, but it also trapped her in a perpetual state of mourning. The world's vibrancy mocked her numbness. The laughter of strangers felt like a cruel reminder of her own silence. She avoided places tied to Liam, the restaurants they frequented, the parks where they strolled hand in hand, sacred grounds she couldn't revisit, fearing the flood of memories would drown her completely. The idea of loving again felt impossible, a betrayal to the love she had lost, a path she couldn't bear to tread. Her heart a fragile, cracked glass bird, barely held together by the remnants of a love that once soared. Friends tried to set her up, with well-meaning intentions, hoping to spark a flicker of joy in her eyes. But they didn't understand the emptiness shaped like Liam, the void that no one else could ever fill. She imagined dating, going through the motions, Liam's ghost always present, a silent observer, a constant reminder of what she had lost, making her retreat further into her shell, isolating herself from the world. Was she honoring his memory or punishing herself? Was she keeping his love alive, or was she simply afraid to move on? The questions never stopped, swirling in her mind like a relentless storm. Love belonged to others now, a distant dream, a forgotten melody. She was a curator of her own sorrow, meticulously preserving every memory, every photograph, every memento of their life together. The happy couples she saw, their easy laughter and carefree smiles, felt like reminders of a world she'd lost, a world where love was effortless and joy was abundant. She preserved her grief, carefully guarding it, unsure if she was loyal or simply afraid to let go, to step into a future without him. The fog of confusion was constant, clouding her judgment, blurring the lines between past and present, and she felt adrift, lost in a sea of sorrow with no land in sight. Her life was a museum of memories, a carefully curated collection of moments frozen in time, untouched by hope, shrouded in the darkness of her grief. She wondered if she'd ever feel color again, if the vibrant hues of life would ever penetrate the gray filter that had settled over her world. For now, she lived in Grayscale, a world of muted tones and faded emotions, alone with her loss, a solitary figure in a city that had once been their shared canvas. On an ordinary Wednesday, the pattern broke. Julian, a gentle-eyed carpenter, donated books to the library. He left quietly but returned with a hand-carved wooden bird for her desk, for watching over the books. Alara smiled, surprised by the small kindness. Julian visited often, seeking books on woodworking, leaving silent tokens, a river stone, a pressed leaf, a drawing. He never pried, respecting her invisible walls. His presence was a gentle hum, not a demand. Slowly, Alara looked forward to his visits. He didn't try to fix her, he simply saw her. For the first time, she felt noticed as Alara, not just the grieving woman. His quiet support was a balm she hadn't known she needed. There was no pressure, only permission to be herself. It was the first crack of light in her grayscale world. One afternoon, as the clock ticked away the final hours of the workday, Alara found herself lost in thought at her desk. The fluorescent lights of the office hummed, a stark contrast to the vibrant memories swirling in her mind. Julian, ever perceptive, noticed her quiet contemplation and offered an extra ticket to the botanical gardens. It was an impulsive gesture, a simple invitation to escape the confines of their daily routine. Alara's initial instinct was to refuse, a knee-jerk reaction born from months of solitude and grief. The thought of venturing out, of facing the world beyond her apartment, felt daunting. The gardens, once a sanctuary of shared joy, were now a poignant reminder of what she had lost. It was a place she and Liam had loved, a backdrop to countless cherished memories. Every flower, every path, held a ghost of their past. But Julian's gentle invitation, delivered with such genuine kindness, made her pause. There was no pressure, no expectation, just a simple offer of companionship. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to tentatively step back into the world. Time to test the waters, to see if she could still find beauty and solace in the places they once shared. After a moment of internal debate, she said yes, the word feeling both strange and liberating on her tongue. It was a small act of defiance against the weight of her grief, a tiny spark of hope flickering in the darkness. The day of their visit was bright. The sun streamed through the glass panes of the greenhouse, casting a warm glow on the vibrant flora within. Julian, with an unassuming enthusiasm, pointed out the intricate details of the orchids, sharing quiet facts about their origins and unique characteristics, never filling the silence unnecessarily, allowing Alara the space to process her own thoughts and emotions. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Alara felt a flicker of genuine joy, a lightness that had been absent from her life for far too long. She, in turn, shared her favorite flower, a delicate bloom hidden amongst the larger, more ostentatious displays. It was a small, almost insignificant gesture, yet it felt like a monumental act of vulnerability and connection. As they were leaving, Julian surprised her by purchasing a vibrant purple orchid, carefully selecting one with the most promising buds. He presented it to her with a gentle smile, saying simply, "To bring a little color to your apartment." That night, the orchid's vibrant purple hue stood out in stark contrast to the muted tones of her minimalist apartment, a splash of life in a space that had become defined by its quiet emptiness. Guilt, a familiar companion, mingled with a nascent sense of hope. The joy she felt was tainted by the memory of Liam, but beneath the guilt, a quiet voice whispered that perhaps her story wasn't over, that she was allowed to find happiness again. The orchid, with its delicate petals and resilient stem, was a living symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, life could still bloom. As she carefully watered it, tending to its needs with a gentle hand, she felt something deep inside her begin to awaken, a dormant part of herself stirring after a long slumber. Maybe this was a new chapter, a blank page waiting to be filled with new experiences, new connections, and new joys. The color was small, a single splash of purple in a world of gray, but it was undeniably real, a tangible sign of hope. And for the first time in a long time, she felt ready, even eager to nurture it, to watch it grow, and to see what other colors might bloom in her life. As Alara and Julian grew closer, memories of Liam resurfaced. At a cinema they once loved, grief struck unexpectedly, guilt overwhelming her happiness. Julian noticed her silence and gently asked if she was okay. Tears came, and she told him everything. Her love for Liam, her fear of betraying his memory. She expected Julian to leave, but he simply listened. "Grief doesn't have a timeline," he said. "Your heart is big enough for both." He gave her permission to remember and to live. Healing, she realized, wasn't erasing the past, but integrating it. Liam would always be a cherished chapter, but not the whole book. Julian wasn't a replacement. He was helping her turn the page. The ghosts remained, but she no longer faced them alone. Julian's quiet strength anchored her. For the first time, she could look at her memories without being swept away. Trust grew slowly, like layers of paint on a canvas. Alara shared her box of memories with Julian. Napkins, ticket stubs, a photo of her and Liam. Julian responded with compassion, not jealousy. He shared his own struggles, showing her everyone carries invisible burdens. In his workshop, he showed her a rocking chair he was building. Patient, careful, dedicated. Their relationship grew like his craft, slow, respectful, organic. She realized he would never intentionally break her. He was a builder, not a destroyer. With him, trust felt possible again. Just as Alara felt secure, Liam's parents returned for his anniversary. She brought Julian to dinner, tension thick in the air. Liam's mother saw Julian as an intruder. His father's questions were heavy with sorrow. Alara felt guilt and confusion crash over her, progress dissolving. Afterward, she considered retreating, fearing she was hurting everyone. Julian pulled over, meeting her pain with steady resolve. "Their pain is real, and so is yours. I'm not afraid of your past. I'm here for you now." He wasn't trying to replace Liam, just to love her as she was. "We knew this wouldn't be easy, but I'm not leaving." His words were a declaration. He would weather the storm with her. Alara realized she didn't have to choose between past and future. Together, they could face the waves. She wasn't alone in the storm anymore. After the difficult dinner, Julian's quiet support continued. Coffee on her doorstep, a funny dog photo, small acts of love. Alara wrote a heartfelt letter to Liam's parents, sharing her enduring love for Liam and her slow journey toward healing. She explained Julian wasn't an erasure, but a testament to the love Liam had taught her. A week later, Liam's mother replied, tearful, honest, apologetic. She admitted her pain, but also her love for Alara, and asked for forgiveness. The letter was a bridge, not a resolution, but a start. Alara realized healing wasn't solitary. It involved everyone touched by loss. Facing the storm with honesty had made her and Julian stronger. The confusion faded, replaced by calm certainty. The sun was rising on her storm-tossed sea. She was ready to move forward, not alone, but together. The promise of a new day was finally real. The anniversary of Liam's passing arrived with peace, not dread. Alara visited the park, smiled at memories, and thanked Liam for the chapter they shared. She no longer ran from the past, but embraced it. Later, Julian showed her a finished rocking chair and an unfinished wooden box. "Let's build this one together," he said. A new project for new memories. Alara understood. They were building a future, piece by piece. Her heart had expanded, making room for new joy without diminishing the old. Love for Liam and Julian coexisted, each beautiful in its own way. The world was vibrant again. Happiness was steady and real. Her story wasn't over. It was just beginning, and she was ready to create a new masterpiece.